What happens to your body living with either complete daylight or complete nighttime for months at a time? If you are new here, my name is Cecilia and I live in a cabin 10 minutes outside of the main village Longyearbyen. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I live on SVALBARD, an island close to the North Pole, and being so far north means extreme seasons. We switch between either constant daylight or constant nighttime with only a few months of day and night in between. Polar day has now just ended, the time of year when we have 4 months of constant daylight and we are about to go into polar night, which means 4 months of darkness. 2.5 of those spent without so much as a glimpse of light. So how does this affect the health of us locals? If you've been around here for a while, you know that I struggled a bit the last polar night. Going through the 2.5 months of complete darkness, I experienced some shocking side effects. After 6 successful polar nights, I found myself halfway through this one, experiencing anxiety and feeling exhausted and just in general feeling very low. I did blood work both before and after the polar night, and by the end of it, I had gone from a healthy vitamin D level of around 70 to just below the healthy limit in just a few months. I don't think my vitamin D levels were the only cause of how I felt, but I think it contributed a great deal. So I made it my mission this summer to load up on all things health, eat lots of vitamin-packed food. I traveled to the sun to soak up those rays and to try to give myself a solid start to this polar night, because polar night is generally my favorite time of year. So now after 4 months of polar day, the season where we have 24 hours of sunlight every day, I'm going to do blood work again. Have my levels improved? Can I notice a big change in my body? Let's find out before heading into this year's polar night, shall we? We are heading to the hospital to do blood work and get an update on where I am at. Good morning!
Morning.
Today we're gonna go to the hospital. When was the last time you did vitamin D tests?
I don't know, a year ago?
Oh, a year ago. And that's when it was at like 24, right? Because you never did one after that. It's true, you haven't done one after. And last time I did it, I had 49. So what do you think yours is going to be at now? I think you're going to be quite high. A good scale is like 50 to 150. What do you think?
I hope good.
Just give me a number.
290.
Stop. Okay, give me a number between 50 and 150 that you think you're going to have.
150.
Stop. Okay, I think I'm gonna have like 60. I will be happy if I have like 60. I'll be so annoyed if I'm under 50. Okay, so now we're gonna go. I have a time at 9, you have a 9:30. I have a feeling it's gonna be empty. 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. Should we bring coffee? No, I'm gonna buy coffee and do it after. Ooh. 6 degrees. That's not too bad. I thought it was colder. I think it's because the wind is a bit mean today. I have to be in the hospital in 15 minutes. That's alright, isn't it? I think it is alright. I saw also that it's school start today for the kids. So I know that they're having a traffic control, they call it. I think they're checking for people's seatbelts, and I think they also said they're going to check that we're not using our mobile phones. I also love that they tell us before. They're like, just so you know, every day this week we will be checking everyone on the main street. It's because we rarely have controls. 10-minute drive to get into town from our cabin, and the hospital is located on the main street. Our hospital offers us all the basic healthcare needs. There are outpatient activities where you can be examined, treated, and investigated for diseases, and small surgical procedures can be performed. There are also physiotherapists, nurses, midwives, dentists, and more at the hospital. Opticians are present only twice a year and usually announce when they will be visiting our town on our Facebook page. For anything more serious, you get sent to the mainland. The hospital has an ambulance as well as a helicopter that can help transport the patient. If you get into an accident out in the field, which happens a few times every year, the helicopter will transport you to the town hospital, and if needed, you will then be flown down to the mainland on the medical flight. And like I've mentioned before, you cannot give birth here and will be sent to the mainland 1 month before your due date. If you want to hear more about this, head to this video I made on the subject. Last time I was here was in January this year when my vitamin D test was at 49, so I'm very curious what my results will be this time. I had to wait a little bit before I could go in and first speak to the doctor and then do my tests. He checked on how I was feeling, what tests I wanted to do, and we discussed if I should change my birth control since my acne was back. But I'm going a non-medicinal approach on my skin this time and going crazy on skincare instead to see if it improves. I'll keep you tuned. Also, if you're like, what acne? Most of it is not visible. We decided to check my hormone levels as well as vitamin D and then the regular things like a complete blood count.
Är det som något du syns är obehagligt eller?
Nej.
Tåler det gott?
Ja. I have no problem whatsoever with needles or anything like this, but don't worry, I'm not going to show you. The nurses are always so nice and welcoming and love to chat about anything and everything. One of the nurses was also Swedish, so we spoke a little bit about that. Okay, just a quick little break in the video because NordVPN are back sponsoring another video. And by now you know that NordVPN is my favorite VPN to use. Last time I told you how easy it is to protect yourself from Wi-Fi imposters using NordVPN, and now I'm back with lesson number 2. Phishing. And this is something that I still find very difficult to spot because phishing attempts are getting more sophisticated by the day. How many times have you received an email about having to change your password or with imposter links mimicking your social media or bank, and then you don't know if they're real or not? They often look close to or exactly the same as the genuine websites, and then they ask you to enter your credentials. The username and the password you typed in are then sent straight to the person trying to steal your credentials. In this case, something like NordVPN's threat protection feature is specifically designed for just that. It gives you warnings about unsafe sites and automatically scans all downloaded files and attachments for malware. If they're not safe to open, they are automatically deleted to prevent any damage to your device. So to get threat protection and an amazing VPN, head to nordvpn.com/Cecilia to grab a 2-year deal and get 4 months for free on the same plan. It is all risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. And thank you so much to NordVPN for being here again. And thank you to all of you guys for watching. And now let's get back to the video. Hej! Jag gjorde blodprov för några veckor sedan nu, men jag har inte fått några resultat. Tusen tack! Ha det! Guess what I have here? It is my blood work results. That took me a while. It's my blood work results. So I can happily tell you that my vitamin D is, drum roll please, 78! Applause! I think this is the first time I'm going into the polar night with like a solid vitamin D level. Our reference area is 50 to 150. I read a lot of different studies that have different reference areas, but this is what our hospital goes by, and I think it's what they do in like Norway and probably Scandinavia. So this is our reference area. I don't know how it works in different countries, but it can definitely be different. So 78 is completely well within, and it's okay. I should continue doing exactly what I'm doing, is what he said. Because he said that if it is low, I could get those pills, vitamin D pills, that you take once a month, I think it was. And it was so much in them. And I was like, I want those because I'm very bad at doing taking the same thing every day. You know, I just end up forgetting it. And to be honest, I haven't been that good this summer. I've completely forgotten about my vitamins, and I've taken them maybe, once a week and then every day a week, and it's been all over the place. But apparently it doesn't matter. I'm within the area. And also why I feel like this is so good, because this is giving me a boost going into the polar night, that I feel like, I'm on top of it. I kind of like that feeling. And also amazing, that has to do with the whole health journey. I think I've said this before. I kind of check my health with myself by checking my resting pulse. Is that what it's called? Yeah, my resting heart rate. That for me says so much about how I'm feeling. It says, am I stressed? Is my body sick? Do I have an infection? And when last winter, I can even show you, because I've been wearing a Fitbit for 10 years. Do you imagine the stats I have? 10 years I've worn a Fitbit. Different models, but I've logged something on Fitbit for 10 years. Amazing. So I'm going to show you. So my resting heart rate in November 2021 was at 70 almost, 69. And that for me is wild. It is just way too high, because I used to be, before I started this job, my resting heart rate was always at 54. So I went from 54 to 70 as my new base resting heart rate. So that told me a lot about how I was feeling and that I was very stressed. And just look at this graphic, how this year has gone. It shows a very, very positive trend. So a resting heart rate can tell you quite a lot about your cardio fitness. So that for me is one of those base things that I look at about how I'm doing. And now I'm back to 56. And I'm always there. And also I feel so different now than I did 1 year ago because of my workload. And I thought everything was stressful because it was a new job. I'm rambling. But so I have a good vitamin D level. I have a good resting heart rate. And I just feel so good about going into this polar night. I feel like I'm well prepared for what's to come. So I probably will, be a bit tired, but I just feel like I just have a different energy going into this one. The work thing is such a big one, because last winter I was doing YouTube and everything kind of for real for the first time. We just quit all of our other jobs. Christopher quit his job. There was so much pressure, and I was just so new to all of this. So I think this winter is going to be completely different. I already feel it. That's so exciting. I also checked everything else you can check except cholesterol, because I asked can we do my cholesterol, and he's like, no, if we're gonna do that we have to do it properly and do it a few times, because it just being here and being a tiny bit stressed could tell us that you have a really bad reading. So he's like, it's just unnecessary if you don't feel like you have any issues. But if it is an issue and you need to test it, you need to do 4 different ones, like Christopher did. But so I checked my blood levels, hemoglobin and everything like that, and that was I'm in the middle of everything. I also checked my hormone levels, because I think that's quite interesting when you're on, contraception, and you're a woman, and I'm in my 30s, and I don't think I've ever checked my hormone levels, and everything was also in where it should be. And I don't know, even though this is just something so simple, it can be so comforting to just check on your health in this way. Also, here it cost me 112 kroner to do that test, I think. I mean, it takes 20 minutes for them to do it? Not even. So I feel like it's a very easy thing to do, just for me and my mental health and my physical health to know, just stay on top of it. We also checked Christopher's. His vitamin D is where it should be. And then we checked his pulse, and that was, no, not pulse. His heart. As a bilingual person, I can tell you that some days you are completely fluent, and then some days you're like, what? I don't know what that's called. It's just the way it is. Oh yeah, we checked his blood pressure, and it gave a bad reading when he was in the hospital office. So he came home with one of those 24 hours a day blood pressure readers. So every 15 minutes for 24 hours, it would take a reading. And then when that came back, it was completely fine. So that was really good. So we're staying on top of his health as well. But we're just going to max him out before the polar night. But his vitamin D was good. His blood pressure is good. And it was all okay. So we're just going to, you know, get him a little bit moving. But isn't that exciting? I'm going to do, of course, another blood test after the polar night. So we're just going to keep following me. But now, the most important thing, I think, is to stay on top of my vitamins. Don't fall off this track. But you know what I think also? The sun did a lot. I have to say that. I was a lot better at taking my vitamins during the polar night, and I took my vitamin D every single day, and still I couldn't get it up, my levels. So I think the sun must have played a huge role on this. It must have. Because we've had sun for 4 months, I've not eaten my vitamins as good. I've had a lot of good food though, but I did go to Portugal twice, so I filled up those, you know, sun, the poor. But I think the sun played a big role in this. But you know what? We're gonna see, because now we have a reading from the end of September, and then we're gonna do another one in February, I think. Maybe March, just when the sun starts coming back. So we have that, you know, long period of, can I keep this up? This is just going to end up being a channel where we take vitamin D tests every month. But I don't know. I'm just so excited about this fall and this autumn, and it's going to be so good. So the darkness starts soon. It goes so quickly, guys. From one day to another, you're like, what? It's 8 p.m. and it's completely dark. And then the next day you're like, wait, it's 7:30 and it's completely dark. It's just so fast. And then on the 29th, I think it is, 27th, 29th, the sun sets for good. For good. I'm just so excited. And you guys are going to be with me for, I think, the third polar night. I can't wait for the snow. I have this feeling, grim, that I'm, you know, waiting for Christmas Eve, but I'm just waiting for, I don't know what, snow? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for being here, as always. And remember to go and check out our Patreon, which is exciting because we have lots of different content there. So you have all of these cooking shows with Christopher, you have sit-down chats with me, and, you know, we just have a really good time. So check that out. I love all of you, and I'm so excited to go into the cozy season with baking and Northern Lights and Christmas, and I don't know why, but I'm so excited. Okay, thank you. Bye.